My first real exposure to Resident Evil was, like many others around the same age as me, 4, a game that, while beloved by many, can be looked back upon as being a clear turning point for the franchise. With 5, and especially 6, the claustrophobic horror the series was known for was cast aside in favor of a mostly action-oriented experience. While Revelations and the remaster of the first game kept the series' roots alive, the series largely faded from prominence for what felt like a long time. That was until Resident Evil 7 rolled around 2 years ago. On the surface, 7, with its first-person perspective and tendency for jump-scare horror, appeared to be an attempt to emulate the success of viral horror hits like Outlast, but somehow, against all odds, it ended up being so much more than that, and brought us back to what made the series a household name in the first place, while keeping things fresh in all the right ways. Then, at Sony's E3 2018 show, Capcom showed off a trailer and release date for the Resident Evil 2 remaster. I thought it was cool, but it wasn't a huge deal to me since I had never played the original and assumed it would be in the vein of what they did with the first game. A substantial visual overhaul, but pretty much the same game. After playing the demo, it turned out that, like 7, I had completely misunderstood what the game was. This is not a remaster, and although I'll be referring to it as a remake, that's not quite right either. It's better to think of it as being a modern reinterpretation. This game is running on the RE engine, the same engine that powered 7, but it looks even better this time around. Character models, lighting, and textures all look stunning, and the zombie animations are on another level. The way they slowly creep around corners and react to being shot, it's so good. Easily the most impressive part of the presentation for me.
You bastard! What the?
I don't know what alien planet they sourced this engine from, but it's amazing. The game runs extremely well on PC, even on highest settings, and in a lot of games, I find that even if the FPS counter displays a high number and stays locked, there's still some occasional stutter or latency that's inherent to the engine, and it can be felt when you move your mouse around. I didn't see a single stutter or hiccup while playing this game, and if you plug in a mouse, you'll find that mouse movement is as smooth, if not smoother, than something like Battlefield 5. I'm not sure if a single-player PlayStation 4 exclusive-looking game feeling significantly smoother than many multiplayer FPS games says more about it or the latter, but it's impressive nonetheless, and it has to be pointed out. It's not just a looker, though. Gameplay is also great. They wisely didn't attempt to maintain the fixed camera angles or stop-and-shoot combat of the original. Instead, it plays like you'd expect a 2019 third-person shooter to, while still having a decidedly horror feel to it. I don't have much more to say about it other than it sometimes feels like enemies take too many shots, which can diminish the impact of the otherwise good combat system. The level design is the real highlight here. It's like unraveling a massive Rubik's Cube. While I haven't played the original, I have played other games from this generation like Silent Hill, and I'm very familiar with how they play. This remake manages to walk the fine line between staying true to those roots and making things a little more reasonable. The puzzles here are not as difficult to parse as those older games, but they're not so easy that they're completely mindless either. However, what's truly masterful here is how they've gone about making the game more accessible to new players without compromising the experience. If you get stuck, the game's not going to give you any hints, but you are given tools to ensure you're never at a complete loss. The map keeps track of every room you come into contact with, and any room that still has something in it will be shaded red on the map. Additionally, any items or interactables you come across will be marked as well. For example, if you walk past a heart key door, that door will be marked on the map for you, so when you get the heart key 2 hours later, you don't have to sit there wondering where the hell heart key door was. I think it's a brilliant concession, since it's not throwing free information at the player, and if you're someone like me that's familiar with this kind of game design, you'll just naturally ignore those aids most of the time because you already figured out what to do and where to go. So it's a flawless 10 out of 10 game then. Unfortunately, no. The gameplay and presentation are paired with some subpar performances and a story that gets real stupid real fast. I thought 7 had great voice acting, so I'm not sure why most of the characters sound so flat here, but they do, and it stands out really badly when the game looks as good as it does.
Claire! Hold on! I'll be right there!
Okay!
Claire. It's so nice to see you.
How are you doing? That helicopter just came out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
I'm in one piece. Damn it. You know what that means?
Yeah. Dinner time.
Then the story. It's not good. At the beginning, it's fine because there isn't much story at all, but as things progress into the world of Umbrella, it turns into a complete mess and starts pulling dumb Hollywood movie type stuff, which was a huge letdown for me. The story isn't the game's fault to some extent, since it's a remake and has to hit the same plot points, but it could have been executed much better, and the performances are baffling considering the amount of effort that went into making the rest of the game. The good news is that these flaws did not come even close to ruining the game for me. Outside of laughing at it towards the end, I pretty much ignored the story entirely, which left me with the visuals and gameplay, which are both 11 out of 10 quality. It's just a shame that it had to be this way because it could have been a watertight game had it delivered a decent story. Nonetheless, I think it's a great game, and while I've only played the Leon story and part of Claire's, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. Unless you don't do horror, I highly recommend it, and if you've never played a game like this before, don't be intimidated by the level design or puzzles. They've done an incredible job of making that stuff work for all players. Voice acting aside, this should be the gold standard for all remakes. Retain the things that defined what it was, modify it to fit modern expectations, but don't compromise on what made it special in the first place. Resident Evil is very much back, and I look forward to seeing what Capcom does with the next game, which will probably be 8. I've started streaming over on Twitch, where I played the entirety of the Leon story, so if you're interested in seeing me stream more new games, the next one will be Metro Exodus, be sure to check out my channel over there, link in the description. Until next time, thanks for watching.